All right, we made it to our final unit of the year. This is called ecosystems. Our first definition is going to be of something called ecology. So anytime you have the ology generally at the end of a word, it means the study of something. So like think geology is the study of the solid earth, seismology, the study of earthquakes. Ecology is the study of the interactions between organisms and their environment. So the things that live there and how they interact with those things. Now, oftentimes when people think of scientists, they generally assume that it is a man who is wearing a lab coat that's inside mixing some kind of chemicals together. And yes, a lot of science is done that way, right? But a lot more science is done in all sorts of different ways. A lot of it's done outdoors. So I'm going to just play some of the clips from here. You might find some of it a little bit cheesy. I do too. But it shows a lot of cool explanations of how other types of careers can happen.
There are many reasons to choose a career with the Colorado Division of Wildlife. For me, it's working behind the scenes, knowing that I'm making a difference. For me, it's patrolling the backcountry, protecting our wildlife.
For me, it's who's looking over my shoulder. Here at the hatchery.
This is something I've always wanted to do since I was little, and I feel very fortunate to be able to live and work in such a beautiful place.
I just wanted to give you some idea of a couple different jobs that are there. Notice that nobody is generally just stuck inside mixing chemicals together or anything like that. Nothing wrong with chemistry. I like chemistry too, but there's a lot of cool job opportunities that are out there, especially for ecology. And I just want to make sure that you're aware of some of them. All right, two definitions I'd like for you to write down. One is organism. The other one is a population. So if you take a look at the examples here, right, an organism is anything that can independently carry out life processes. It is one creature, right? So here is the one creature, but this one organism is part of a larger group of individuals, so that's a population of the same species that live together in the same area at the same time. So if you look at the organism, the red is circling this one otter. Aren't they utterly adorable? And if you then select the entire group of otters together, that is what's considered to be the population. So we're starting with the smallest and we're pulling out until we get larger and larger and larger classification systems here. So we have one organism, and then it's part of a larger population here. Now, moving along, next up the chain of how big things are, we now have a community. A community is all of the different populations of different species that live and interact in an area. So if you look over here, these are two fish that look like they're of the same species, right? So maybe it's just those two. Maybe that's their population, just two of them. Could be more, probably more, but let's just say it's two of them. But you see how there's other species of fish over here? There's coral down over here. Same thing over here where we have different types of zebra and antelope, right? And it might be some elephants in the background. It's hard to tell in this situation, but it's different species, different populations. They probably all live in this general area, and they don't always hang out all day together, but they're here together. So this is the area in which they all interact. Now, what's the difference between the ecosystem and the community? Well, ecosystem is just also including the non-living environment. So in the bottom left-hand corner, that'd be considered like the water that's there as well. And on the bottom right-hand corner, yes, it would be the water hole, it would be the dirt, it would be the rocks. All of those things are part of the ecosystem. And if we pull back and we get even bigger than this is when we start to talk about the biosphere. The biosphere is just simply the part of Earth where life exists. If you think about all the spheres on Earth, you've learned about a lot of them in both 5th and 6th grade. You can think of the atmosphere, it's all the gases on Earth, the hydrosphere, all the water on Earth. You can think of the lithosphere, like the solid Earth, and then you can go down inside, and all the different spheres are located inside the Earth. But if you're on the exterior of the Earth, the biosphere is just if you were to take all the life that exists on Earth, that would be the biosphere. Here are a couple different terms on the top left. You can see the atmosphere, the gases, the hydrosphere is the water, the lithosphere is the rock, and the green is the biosphere. Now, I love this image on the bottom right-hand corner. I'll move myself out of the way so you can take a look. But it's basically showing you all the different layers of life that exist here. And when we zoom in, you see all of the type of animals, right, that exist on land, right? And it's showing all the different type of life there. But as soon as you pull out, you see that it's just really a small fraction of the total amount of life that's here on Earth, because most life exists in the oceans and the water. So that is your biosphere. Now, if you were to consider inside of an ecosystem or in the environment, what things are living, what things are non-living. Anything that is biotic, bio often means having to do with life. So a biotic factor are the living factors in the environment. Abiotic, A generally means without something. So this means without life. So abiotic factors, non-living factors in the environment. So if you look at these two pictures, can you point out all of the biotic factors? Now, you may not be able to see anything that is living right there, right? Anything that is living in terms of an animal, unless you're considering like the plants that are there. So that, of course, would be considered a living factor. You can see like the cactus there. Now, there may be microbes, little tiny microscopic creatures that are within the soil that we can't really tell. That would also be considered biotic factor. Even like the old trees, even though they may not, like, are sticks, it may not currently be alive, but it came from something that is alive. So we would also consider that part of the biotic factors there. Whereas the rocks, right, all of those rocks are definitely non-living. The dirt is non-living. The microbes inside them are living. The air, the sun, the heat, all of those things would also can be considered the abiotic factors, or the non-living. So you could take a look here. This is just a friendly reminder of things that are living. You could see the microscopic creatures on the left, plants, humans, and animals. And on the right, you see rocks, mountains, precipitation, water, wind, temperature, and possibly gases and volcanoes as well. Here is another image I really like. If you take the left image, it's just showing this is a part of the Yellowstone ecosystem. Now, so if you just look on the far left, those are all things that are living. If you just look on the far right, that's all the things that are non-living. But together, that's what make up the ecosystem, both of them together. So this is the last thing I'm going to show you. Now, generally, I like to show lots of clips from some of my favorite documentary series. One of my favorite documentary series is a series called Africa. Every single episode, I believe it's about 6 or 7 episodes, is an hour-long documentary that all is just showing you different parts of Africa, and it is amazing. It used to be on Netflix. Last time I checked, no longer on Netflix, unfortunately. If we were all together in class, I would be showing you a clip from it, because I do have some of those clips saved up. But looks like I cannot show them to you because of copyright violations on YouTube. So instead, I found a different one. Not as good as the one I would have shown you, but there are some cool, interesting things located in this one. So here is an area where lots of different creatures will come together, right? It will be a water hole. In the middle of the desert, there's not a lot of places, reliable places that you can just randomly get water. So when you find one, it's a valuable location. And lots of different types of communities, populations will all coexist in this area. And of course, that brings danger, right? Because there could be predators that are nearby around that can cause everyone to flee very suddenly. But you could see all of the different abiotic factors and the biotic factors that are all working together here. Different populations. Everyone has to drink. Everyone has to drink water. It's one of the things that bind together all different types of life. Everyone has to eat, everyone eats different things, but everyone has to drink water. I really like elephants. They're maybe my favorite animal. I'm going to skip ahead to see if there's anything else worth watching in this video. Well, maybe just that over time, if not enough new water's coming in, the water level is just going to shrink back down until it's gone. And when it's gone, there's no reason for all these animals to stick around, because now it's just a dangerous location for predators to come in. And then they'll go.